my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug, those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem, I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Hey, shout out to my pops, man. I do this for you. Let's go, everybody. Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday morning. Happy hump day. What's up? Hey, yo, check this out, guys. Sorry, I'm still checking out my pause timer and everything. You guys know I do this all by myself. As I'm sitting here about to talk sports with you guys, I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching me on TikTok right now, thanks for being up this morning. Shout out to you guys. But I only talk to those who are on YouTube. This is where I get paid. This is what we do. I live stream on YouTube. Thank you guys for making my life possible. I want to peel back the curtain a little bit like I always do. Shout out to Wizard of Oz. Check this out. Today, I'm wearing my retired shirt. Romeo Echo Tango, India. You guys see it. It says retired with the phonetic alphabet. Working on my retirement. So with retirement comes a bunch of appointments and a lot of other requirements. I already have my orders. It's a good to go. I got my new ID card yesterday. It expires November 30th like I'm looking for. I'm so excited. After being in the Army over 20 years, what a blessing. I can then pursue this career full time like I have been doing, but, you know, without any stressors, without any concerns. So with that, we have some appointments on base today, and those appointments might run a little long, some of those meetings and other things, and it would interfere with the show tonight. So I decided to do an early morning stream. 8 a.m., here we are. I haven't had breakfast. I don't care. I can do this on an empty stomach because you know what? The haters are my fuel, y'all. Haters pay my bills. I woke up this morning to a million messages of Rico doesn't know. But the reality is they don't know half the teams I'm about to talk about today. They don't know their own father. He went to the store. He's never coming back. They don't know what their mother does when they're not looking. She knows the neighbor really well. They don't know what they're going through in life. They think they know, but they don't have a clue. Me, on the other hand, I'm living a great life. Now, they always ask me, Rico, why don't you talk other sports? It's only college football that you talk about. What about the NFL? Well, hate's a strong word, but I truly dislike most NFL fans. And when it comes to the NFL, I find it boring. It's very simple. It's 32 teams. It is what it is, right? How about baseball, Rico? Why don't you talk baseball? Well, I'll tell you why I don't talk baseball. It's the playoffs, and I didn't know about it. Nobody knew about it. And apparently, no one in Tampa gives a shit. Check out baseball. They open up, and I almost called them the Devil Rays. They got rid of the D word, because that's evil, right? The Texas Rangers versus the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They drew a crowd of 19,000 people. Is this the WNBA? Is this the WNBA? What is this? 19,000 people? Says the lowest crowd since 1919. Are you shitting me, bro? How many people were there in 1919? You couldn't even get to the game. You had to live in the proximity of going to the game. There weren't a bunch of cars around. Model T Fords. What were we doing? They were getting there on wagon. You had to be in walking distance to the stadium to go to a game back in 1919. You shit me? Now they can't get people over there? Tampa. You're in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see you lose. It's gross. Oh, by the way, they lost 4-0. Not only did the fans not show up, the players didn't show up. They got shut out 4-0. Me and the Tampa Bay Rays have the same amount of runs this playoff season. This is why I don't cover baseball. It's a damn joke. Embarrassing. And they had to play 162 games to know this? 162 games to know what's going on? Gross. Hey, Rico, why don't you talk NFL more? Well, because they don't know what they're doing. The Broncos waive a starting corner after 4 games. Now he was the starting nickel, right? I've always had a tough time saying his name, to be fair. Asang Bassi. Everybody's like, that's easy to say. Nah, not for me. Asang Bassi, this corner right here. He was an undrafted free agent coming out of Wake Forest, an ACC guy. And they let him start some games. And then they decided to cut him. They cut their starter. And you know who they cut him for? Is somebody that I talked about, and I want to double check when I talked about. I talked about him for years. 2 years now. Jaquan McMillan. Jaquan McMillan, a kid coming out of East Carolina. You know me, I'm a small school guy. Talking about the American. ECU, they just moved to the American. But anyways, ECU, this is one of their star corners. Second team All-American coming out of college. Jaquan McMillan, he finally made it, bro. He's the starter. He's the reason this man got cut. And this is what I tell you guys. I get excited when somebody gets released and cut or injured. I don't care. I'm real. I get excited because somebody else is going to live out their NFL dream. And Jaquan was an undrafted free agent. He got cut on the final cuts 2 years ago. And then they signed him the very next day to the practice squad. He's been chilling on the practice squad until last season. The very last week of the season, he finally got activated. Can you imagine what that feels like? Can you imagine what that feels like? You've been on the bench, on the practice squad all season because you're a 5'10 corner. And nobody likes 5'10 corners. But you're balling out of your mind. And they finally let you play. He played every single down that game. Final game of the season last year. And now, you go into this season, here's your starter, Asang Bassi, and guess what? They can release him because they got Jaquan McMillan. I said McQuillan. Hey. Substitute teacher got me, bruh. Substitute teacher got me. Shout out to Key and Pill. One of the worst shows I've ever seen. But they got substitute teacher just got me. What you got? Jaquelin. McMillan. D nice. Hey, Ron. I'm from the inner city. You don't know? I'm just letting you know. I'm losing it, y'all. I'm losing it. Apologize. Let me stay focused. Iowa State defensive end. Shout out to the Big 12. Iowa State defensive end Deshaun Hanukkah. He's a tight end. Had his gambling charges dismissed. Okay, dismissed. They're giving all these guys slaps on the wrist. This one is dismissed. There's still some other guys out there not with the team anymore. I want to know how everybody's going to be treated. This is nuts. The state waited too long to indict him. They had to dismiss the tampering charges because they waited too long. Are you kidding me, bro? Statute of limitations. You kidding me? Tampering with records? What's the statute of limitations on this? And if you don't know what tampering with records means as an adult, for these kids, it means they use their parents' identity to circumvent the gambling restrictions, right? So gambling, you got to be of a certain age. You got to do this. So if you impersonate your parents to do your gambling, that's tampering with records. That's a misdemeanor. It's a gross misdemeanor. I think it's up to like 2 years in prison. It could be much worse, right? If you're being fraudulent on hospital records or some type of other really serious thing where you're pretending to be your parents. But in this case, it's gambling on a website, in an app, whatever. Hospitalized West Virginia players get to fly home from Texas. So there's a bunch of dudes, 2 to be exact, sent home. They finally got to go home to West Virginia after being in the hospital. It's just, dude, I don't understand it. Carted off the field. Latham underwent surgery on his lower leg and will miss the rest of the season. I don't understand how you can't fly home to get your surgery, or why don't they let people stay in recovery? Why they got to send them home? Like, if I get surgery at the hospital, why are they always so quick to rush me out? I never understood that. Maybe you want to get better service. Like, you need better care. I always felt like you get surgery, they send you home. Give me that bed for a couple days. Oh, it costs what? An insane amount of money? Have the school pay for it, bro. Have the school pay for it. But I'm just saying, I like being under the care of the people who did the surgery on me. If I had surgery and I don't get to see that same doctor anymore because they flew me home, I don't know who the hell worked on me. Can't come back for follow-ups. I don't trust anybody who worked on me and then they flew me home and I'm not here anymore. It happened to me once. I once had dental surgery and that doctor went away. Like right after the surgery, I couldn't see him anymore. And there was complications. It was removing my impacted wisdom teeth. We had to go talk to this guy. He wasn't at the hospital the next day or the next week. He was gone forever. I was like, what happened? Who can I talk to? How about the guy who did the procedure? I don't like getting surgery in one place and then being sent home right away. Take your time. Figure it out. Good luck, though. Here we go. American. Remember, I'm talking American Conference this morning. No, all charges were not dismissed. Hold on, I just saw that. All charges were not dismissed. That's not what it is. Statute of limitations. It's crazy. Hey, TikTok, if you're watching, I don't read your comments. Move over to YouTube. I'll answer your questions over there. All right, back to the American. UTSA at Temple. I got to double check my MVP data. Yeah, not talking about this game at all. I'll just tell you that it's MVP data, so if you want to know about this game, get your membership up, and you'll know about it. North Texas Navy. Not talking about this one either. MVP data. South Florida UAB. Now, I'm excited for this one. The reality is this. Going into the season, I was very, very excited for one of these teams, and it's UAB. As the season has progressed, Alex Golesh has done an amazing job with South Florida. I thought South Florida's team was ill-prepared for the season, but they found a guy in Byron Brown who, by the way, as a redshirt freshman quarterback, Byron Brown, and I want to make sure I'm saying this right, when it comes to rushing in the conference, he's 4th in rushing in the American, and he's 5th in passing. Are you kidding me right now? This guy he's doing his best Vince Young impersonation. Byron Brown, the starting quarterback for South Florida, is a superstar. You need to watch him. Turn on the TV and give him a chance. He'll be on ESPN2 at 4 p.m. on Saturday. You'll probably be watching other games. Split that screen if you got YouTube TV. Record the game. Go back and watch Byron Brown. He's must-see TV, man. He's exciting. He really is. This is a 61% completion percentage guy. It's the only thing I care about with quarterbacks. He's been sacked 23 times, and he's still playing great. I don't know if you guys understand that. 23 times. That's an amazing amount of sacks. And UAB on the flip side, they have one of the top passes in the entire American in Jacob Zeno. This is a Baylor transfer, and he's just airing it out. Shout out to Trent Dilfer doing what he can. UAB has 2 amazing running backs. UAB has a good team. I think they're competitive in their games. They were down 8 points in the fourth quarter to Tulane, and Tulane's, the cream of the crop when it comes to the American. And for me, this game is intriguing. I'm excited to watch it. I don't know who's going to win. I think both these teams will score a ton of points, though. I really do. I don't know what the over is under in this game. Let me go check real quick. South Florida, right? Maybe they have it down as USF. Nope, they have it down as South Florida. There it is. Look at that, 68.5. You can't take it, bro. South Florida's favorite by 3.5. I don't recommend it. It's at home against UAB. It feels like South Florida's the better team right now, but UAB at home, they could definitely score a ton of points. They're explosive. They were competitive with Tulane. South Florida was competitive with Bama. Like, these teams are not scrub teams. 68 points seems like a lot. It's a bit much to ask, but I wouldn't be surprised if they hit that over. I really wouldn't. I don't know. This is not on my list at all. This is one of those games you cannot really bet on. You can learn a lot about these teams. But if you want to watch a game that's going to have incredible offensive players, UAB has 2 NFL running backs. 2. Josh Jacobs' younger brother, Isaiah, and people tell me he's not a locker room guy. I got a bunch of DMs about it. He's not a locker room guy, right? Jermaine Brown Jr., the backup, he is incredible. Wears number 1. The UAB's got 2 guys I love watching play football. South Florida has a hell of a team, hell of a running back. Defensively, both these teams leave a lot to be desired. They really do. If I'm keeping it real, son, I'm just letting you know. I'm looking over here at my notes real quick, and I'm like, yeah, I know Schuler's there at South Florida. Yeah, Schuler and Stokes. That's who I remember. Who else? I can't think of anybody else. But UAB, they lost. I mean, they got a good defensive lineman from Florida State in the transfer portal. They have a good corner, Mac McWilliams. But there's a lot to be desired there. So the game is just going to be fun to watch. Obviously, losing Jalen Key to Bama, their best player, and he don't even play. That was weird. So that's tampering if you ever seen it. Yeah, that's a game I'm interested in, though, this weekend. Out of the American, for sure. UConn at Rice. JT Daniels. What is he, the leading passer? He is the leading passer in the American, JT Daniels. You guys thought he was going to go down to Rice and not dominate? 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Over almost 1,500 yards, over 1,460 yards so far this season. Yeah, he's dominating. He's got Luke McCaffrey looking like who's he looking like? Joe Jaravicious. Looking like Joe Jaravicious, man. He's the leading receiver in the conference as well. So Rice is tearing it up. UConn looks hapless. I'd imagine you can't bet on this game. I'm sure it's lopsided. There it is. UConn, Rice by 10. My goodness. That over-under of 47.5 seems very plausible. I feel like, I don't know if Rice's defense is built for that. 47.5, they're assuming UConn's not scoring much. I think the over's in play there. Just thinking out loud, I think the over's in play, and I think Rice can actually cover that spread. I think Rice is 10 points better than UConn, and that over's real. That's how I feel about that game. JT Daniels, man, he's out there just balling out. Balling. Something to think about if you're an American guy. And if you're looking for free plays, shout out to all the TikTokers. I'm giving you your free plays right now. Okay? Tulsa at Florida Atlantic, that's an MVP game, 100%. I will not be talking about that game. Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Unfortunately for you guys, this is a game that's being played on Friday, so it automatically becomes MVP data. Any Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday night game, I talk about it in depth with the MVPs, so I can't go there. Okay. Saturday, Oklahoma at Texas. Not an MVP game. I'm not calling who's winning this game, so I'll talk to you guys about it right now. Oklahoma's offense is revamped, looks great. Andrew Anthony, the Michigan transfer, looks good. But Texas is probably one of the more dynamic offenses in the country. I'd say top 5 for sure, talent-wise. Like, maybe their numbers aren't top 5. Get right? If I did a search, maybe Texas numbers aren't top 5. But quarterback, wide receivers, running back, the talent they have is top 5. If we had tryouts tomorrow, some of those Texas players would be somewhere in the 2 deep in the top 5 if we were all trying out. If I tried out every running back in America, if I tried out every wide receiver in America, right? Shirts off. Pause. If we were just doing it and I didn't know who the hell they were, some of these Texas kids would be making the list, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So Texas is loaded. I think Texas, it's their year, guys. I think it's their year. Now, I have Oklahoma losing one game all season, and it's this one. So I'm going to stick with it. But I would not be surprised if Oklahoma won this game. Being on the road at Texas, I expect Texas to win the game. I really do. Don't care about the spread. We're just going straight money line. I like Texas to win this game. I would not be surprised if it went the other way, but I think Texas is winning. Let me be very clear. So that's how that goes. UCF, Kansas, both disappointing after this last week. I would say that UCF has just been looking pretty anemic lately. If I pull up UCF's last 5 games, John Rice Plumlee really pushes that offense, right? 50 points, beating Boise 18-16. Very unimpressed here. Doesn't matter about Villanova, but look at this. 31 against K-State with a backup quarterback. 35 against Baylor with a backup quarterback. You've been putting up 30 points with a backup quarterback. I get it. Your defense is stopping nothing. Nothing. And when they're running right through you. Shapen comes back. They're running right through you. What can Kansas do? They can run the ball. Kansas can run the ball. I feel like Kansas can win this game. I know they're playing with Bean, backup quarterback sometimes. I still feel like Kansas can win this game. UCF has not impressed me enough to say that they're going to win this game. No. Not a chance. I think that they're going to struggle against Kansas. Now, at the same time, don't let me be hypocritical here. If we look at Kansas' last 5, here it is. Nobody expected them to beat Texas. We wanted them to stay within 18. It didn't happen. But they beat BYU. Nevada's actually a decent team. We know Illinois is bad. Nevada's 0-5, but they cover the spread every week. Because people don't realize Nevada can actually score. Okay? I think UCF offense is very comparable to Illinois. Very comparable to BYU. So I think UCF is going to be in this range. Okay? So these look like very comparable scores to what we're going to see against UCF, I think. So when you start thinking about overs, you're looking at 60 points. At least 60, 30 and 30, right? So if I go in here, is UCF here? They don't do it by UCF. What do they do? Central Florida. There it is. And there it is. I told you, you're looking at about 60 points a game. 60 for the over-under, and it's there. So your only bet here would be Kansas to cover that spread if you believe in Kansas. Kansas to cover 2.5. It feels right. Okay? At home, I think they can beat Central Florida 2.5. Kansas feels like they can beat them. But that over-under, I would stay away from it because it feels like that's supposed to happen. It's not a clear cut. This feels good. If you like value, go with Central Florida. If you just like, if you like to live on the wild side. But I think Kansas can cover that spread. Just talking verbally here, not giving you guys any locks. Just talking out loud. Texas Tech and Baylor, not on the list. This is so hard to know what's going on. Baylor, Shapen's back. Texas Tech going with a backup quarterback, putting up a ton of points. Morin played great. Some of the MVPs tried to warn me and told me that would happen. I was in denial about it. I was wrong. I didn't want to believe them. I told them I wouldn't bet on it, and rightfully so. So now we look here. Baylor's the favorite with Texas Tech. Baylor's the favorite, but that 58 looks that looks delicious, bro. That looks delicious right there. 58.5. I like that over all day. Texas Tech at Baylor. Give me the 58.5 over, and I really think Texas Tech has a chance to win this game. I really do. So I like an over and an upset. Just how I feel about it. TCU at Iowa State, that is a MVP game. I will not be talking about it. I'm going to leave that one alone. But thank you for asking. Thank you for being here. All right, so those are my breakdown between the two conferences and some of the free takes for all the TikTokers out there and those of you who are non-MVPs. Now it's the time for me to go to chat and talk to you guys. Just a reminder, TikTok, if you're watching right now, I'm not answering any questions from you or comments. All you need to do is come to YouTube, join the page. You just got to click this little link up here. Join the chat, and I'll know who you are. Okay? That's it. Let's go to the top and see what's happening with the show this morning. Joshua Jackson, you are now an MVP. Congratulations. Hope you go catch the video. I'll be making another video for MVPs today, breaking down tonight's games. Timothy Bowers, you're an MVP. Congratulations, man. Nice tie in the photo, by the way. Shout out to you, brother. Thanks for being here. Willie Bobo. What up, MVP? It's your boy Willie in the house. What up, Willie? Willie, aren't you in California? It's 5 in the morning, bro. What are you doing? 8 a.m. live stream, perfect for the early day work, folks. There you go. Shout out to you, Andres. Congratulations. Steph, I already told you what's up. Thanks for being here, Steph. She's one of my followers on TikTok. She just made the transition over to YouTube, and she supports the channel. That's why her name's in green. Shout out to her. Dev So Cool says, early morning stream. Oh, yeah, we in here. Shout out to you, Dev. Thank you so much. W early stream. Thank you guys for giving me the dubs on this. Trying to do it early. Obviously, the numbers won't be the same because not everybody knows our schedule. I don't care. They'll see it throughout the day. They'll figure it out. Hello, what up, Apple Jacks? Your parents named you that? Small Nugget. Small Nugget. Name checks out. Congrats. Congratulations. Oh, congrats on the retirement. Yeah, man. Hasn't happened just yet. Still got to clear the unit and all that other bullshit paperwork. But it's happened, bro. It's happening. Jack Brady, what up, Rico? What up, man? What up, what up? What do you think the chance of Cam Ward winning the Heisman is? Well, Cam Ward doesn't play in the Big 12 or the American, so this is the wrong day to ask. But thank you for asking, Apple Jacks. I'm only talking Big 12 and American today. Goddamn, early morning grind, checking in from work. Shout out to you, Hey, you guys think I'm an early morning grind? You're already at work. This is my work. That's your work. Don't forget to smash that like button. Smash it, bro. Pause. And then burn your money. Can you talk about why ECU is so ass this year? Head coach leaving really means that much. So head coach leaving means that much, but in reality, Holton Ahlers was a 4-year starter at quarterback. Keaton Mitchell was a 3-year all-conference running back. You lost 2 1,000-yard receivers, right? C.J. Johnson and was it Winstead? Like, you just don't have a chance of playing to that level with, you know, who you have in the transfer portal. When you have that type of production loss, you're not ever going to be the same team. You're not. That's why TCU's not the same team. TCU lost 8 draft picks, and I told everybody, TCU's not going to be the same team. They're winning 5 games. That's the way it is for ECU. It's not that they're ass or they're terrible. Mason Garcia's playing well. Some of the players they got are filling in nice. I like 2 of the linebackers they got in the transfer portal. I think it was Taekwon King and Brad Roberts. Not Brad Roberts. He's at Wake Forest. Who's the other guy? Taekwon King and B.J. Davis. Both FCS-level transfers from, HBCUs. I like what East Carolina's doing. I think their coaching staff is doing great. The problem is you lost NFL-caliber players. The only team I've seen recover like that was Fresno State, and I don't understand it. Fresno State lost Jake Haener. They lost Jordan Mims. They lost 2 running backs. They lost Evan Williams at wide receiver. They lost NFL not Bullish Schmidt. Who'd they lose? They lost the defensive lineman to Colorado. They lost players, man, and they're still undefeated. They're great. They reloaded. But East Carolina did not have the same luck. Reality of the situation. You do Big 12 in the morning. I'm doing Big 12 on Wednesdays. Today is Wednesday, so I'm doing Big 12 today. What up, bro? Coming over from TikTok. Shout out to you, Justin Stokes. What's your thoughts on PSU? Beat Ohio State, lose to Michigan. So I talk Big 10 on Tuesdays. I just talked about them yesterday, Justin Stokes. So if you want to go watch yesterday's show, it's on the live tab. I hope it got a copyright violation because I let a song play at the end that was Russ, and it got reported for copyright infraction. So that sucks. Didn't mean to, but it happened. All charges dismissed. NCAA must be involved with gambling. No, just the state didn't charge in time. They were taking too long on the investigation, so you ran out. Yeah, it's pretty shitty move. What do you think of Taj Washington? Taj Washington plays in the Pac-12. I talked to him on Friday. Thank you for asking. Talking Big 12 only. I came over from TikTok, and you didn't answer my question. Justin Stokes. You ask a question, you need to wait patiently, man. I don't get to questions until I'm done with my monologue, until I'm done covering all the games. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. Welcome to the channel. Stop repeating your questions, guys. I don't care. What do you think of tonight's games? All my breakdowns for tonight's games are for MVPs only. So if you get the MVP package, you'll know. I don't even bet, but I need to get the MVP package to not miss out on videos and content. This is a true statement, Bass. People are figuring it out. They want data. They want information, and they're MVPs. There's a lot of non-gamblers in the MVPs, for sure. Rico, I know Druid Hills isn't good, but could you include them in your Georgia high school scores? Marcus Banks, I could. If I see something that catches my eyes. I'm writing it down as a note. I'm a man of my word. If it comes up and I see them in a result, I will mention Druid Hills. I appreciate you chiming in. Marcus Banks, thank you so much for watching my high school reviews. They don't get a lot of views. That's not where I'm getting my hundreds of thousands of views. I don't make a lot of money on that video. And that video takes me, you can ask him, it takes me at least an hour to go through 400 different high schools and identify certain games and matchups that I'm intrigued by. It takes me at least an hour to make that video. That's a long time for a video that doesn't make me any money. And I don't care. I still do it because I love the game. So I appreciate somebody like you loving the game, watching the video, watching the whole thing, and saying, hey, man, give Druid Hills a shout out. I got you, man. Does it feel weird, Rico, not having to go to a job? Willie Bobo, it does not feel weird. It feels warranted. If I feel validated, I will say that it feels weird where I'm going to next. And what I mean by that is financially, things are taking off in a different direction that I ever imagined in my life. And it's pretty awesome. That's all there is to it. Like my dream car, I'm going to get, right? My dream house, I'm going to get. Just because I can. It's the reality of the situation. It's a nice feeling. What you'll never see, though, you'll never see an Apple Watch. You'll never see a chain. You'll never see AirPods. You'll never see me sell out and start wasting money on shit. I'm not that guy. But I will live a good life. So thank you. Thank you to all the MVPs who make it possible. Thank you to all my followers and believers. You know, I know on my channel, there are people with twice as many followers, and they don't make the same amount of money I do. I'm just blessed. I did it right. That's all there is to it. Good luck. Wild that UConn football is independent. Why is that? I need to know what Rico knows. So they're independent just because they're not in a conference. They went maybe 2 or 3 years winless. They didn't do anything, and no one really believes in them. I believe they were in the Big East back in the day. I'd have to go back and double-check. But they haven't really recovered from the Big East dissolving back in the late 2000s. Was it the late underneath 2010? When did the Big East dissolve and become part of the ACC, and they've moved all those teams over? Remember, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, all that was Big East, and it was amazing. But, yeah, UConn football is independent. They're not very good. They had a good year last year, but transfer portal will annihilate your team. Players will leave your team that probably should be there and could have helped you. Nathan Carter's the leading rusher in the Big Ten, or at least on Michigan State. He was at UConn. They have a kid, wide receiver. He left for – did he leave for BYU? Where did he leave to? He's not getting any playing time. They had 2 great wide receivers. Both hit the portal. No playing time right now. It's weird because they were getting, they were on pace for 1,000 yards this year. Injuries also hurt. Willie Bobo, yeah, I'm over these children already. Yeah, there's a lot of children in the chat. It's all good. Joe Jaravicious call out. There you go, 6'6" white boy playing wide receiver. I feel you. Thank you, Marcus Banks. My knowledge bank is deep, bruh. Didn't mean to play on Banks. That's who I am. Shame West Virginia doesn't play this weekend. They don't. They're recovering, and they're doing well. Hang in there, Daniel Henderson. Daniel Henderson says, #Kim needs a raise. Hey, Kim is my only employee, and Kim makes good money. Don't get it twisted. Kim's doing just fine. She's got all the benefits. She's got all the coverage she needs. You guys don't be saying she needs a raise. Kim, you need a raise? She says she's well taken care of. We ain't doing that. You guys need to calm down. I'm just getting on my feet. Y'all want my first employee to start making more money than me. Calm down. More money. Morning, Rico. Why are we early this morning? Rewind the show. I already talked about it, Kavion. I appreciate you. You think Notre Dame beating Louisville? That is not a Big 12 question or an American question. Please keep the questions. Big 12 or American? We up early. Let's go. Military time. I'm good. Get that VA disability too. I'm 100% total and permanent. Baby, what's up? So, shout out to Jerry. Working on it. I already had my evaluations done. I already had all my medical stuff done. I already made 26 different claims. We'll see what happens, man. I'm not pressing it. Obviously, it's going to happen when it happens. Doesn't need to happen today or tomorrow. We'll be straight. Don't worry about it. What's your thoughts on West Virginia next week? It's a Thursday game, so might be an MVP game. It will always be an MVP game if it's Thursday. Now, there is one game. What is it? That's not an MVP game this early this season. So I will be talking to YouTube about it, or I'm sorry, TikTok. Yeah, not an MVP game. Sam Houston, Liberty. So there's a possibility it's not an MVP game. Sam Houston and Liberty is tomorrow, and I will be making a TikTok on it tomorrow morning, and I will be talking it on the show because I don't think it's a viable gamble. so I have to give the take for free, but I don't think it's one anybody should be gambling. Liberty is favored over Sam Houston, 19.5 points, which is an absurd spread. But when you look at Sam Houston, I'm tired of saying bet on these guys or bet against them. Or they just show up a different team every week. Liberty is one of 5 teams undefeated in the group of 5, right? Group of 5 has 5 undefeated teams right now. Who is it? Fresno State? Liberty? I'm drawing a blank right now. Fresno State, Liberty. I struck out that fast. No, I know them all. I can name them on any given day. I can name all 5. JMU, Marshall, and Air Force. That fast. It just has to get through my Rolodex, y'all. So I'm down here thinking, and I'm like, boom, it hit me. So JMU, Marshall, Air Force, Liberty, and Fresno State. I feel like Liberty can put up a ton of points, but nobody has. And Sam Houston's defense is supposed to be all great, and then they get 35 put on them by Jacksonville State, which is insane, right? That was last week. So that really came back to bite us. The over-under for that game is 45.5 because Sam Houston's offense can't score. I just don't like that game at all. Maybe the West Virginia game next week will be like that, and I can give you guys information for free. Daniel Henderson's an MVP. It doesn't matter. He's going to get a good breakdown on the game anyways. He's tripping. Shout out to Daniel Henderson. If you guys didn't know, Daniel Henderson is a West Virginia homer. And Mr. Henderson, I found out about you, bro. I watched your videos. You are a firefighter. So thank you for your service. It says firefighter. If you're still one, thank you for your service. I don't think firefighters do anything. There's not a lot of fires every year. I think they just hang out, do a bunch of safety checks, and they rescue kittens from trees. I ain't mad at them. Congratulations. Thank you for your support on the channel, though. Tony McKnight, what up, Rico? What up, man? Yo, Rico, what's cracking? Xander, good to see you. Xander Veraska. Tyler Bullitt says, what do you think about West Virginia this year? What I think about West Virginia this year is they're one of the most surprising teams to this point. I had Neil Brown on the hot seat. I said West Virginia was going to be terrible. You lose JT Daniels, who is a really good quarterback, whether you believe it or not, and you're replacing him with a dude named Green or Nico. You lost a lot of skilled players, but in the spring transfer portal, I noticed Neil Brown starting to win recruiting battles in the spring transfer portal. There was guys that everybody was vying for, and they were going to West Virginia. And I don't know if that was NIL-driven, depth chart-driven, whatever it is, and that really paid off. The big one for me was Anthony Wilson, the safety/corner, the defensive back, leaving Georgia Southern. This is an NFL guy, and he goes to West Virginia. I just thought, wow, that's really surprising. And it paid dividends, right? Some of these guys are in the two deep. They're contributing every single week, and it looks like they bought in to what Neil Brown's doing, and nothing cures instability faster than winning. Winning solves everything, and West Virginia is winning. Neil Brown is not on the hot seat. I love what they're doing, and here's the thing. He was only on the hot seat because fans were being impatient with his process, and I was adamant all offseason. Ken Kendrick, the number 1 booster in the world for West Virginia, is not out there trying to fire this man, because if he was, he would be fired, and he's not getting fired. Okay. On the flip side, Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, I told you, he's on the hot seat before the season started. I said Gundy's on the hot seat because he lost all his amazing people and replaced them with B-level athletes. Now, I don't like to say that about these college athletes, but what I'm trying to say is I use the analogy, have you ever seen a guy, he's got a really hot wife, and then he gets a divorce? He's been married to this woman for like 15 years, 20 years. Really hot wife. Everybody knows it. It was a high school sweetheart. He got her, and she's smoking hot. And you look at that dude, and you're like, man, he'll never get a girl that hot again. And she leaves. And then the next girl he gets is nowhere near. Very homely-looking girl. Not even close to as pretty as the one he just had. And then he tries to convince you, oh, well, I'm with her because she cooks really good, or she has no debt. She's a faithful woman. I don't need the headache. It was too much to maintain. I don't like the hot ones. They're just, everybody's always staring at them. It just costs too much. He's trying to convince you of why he's with the lower caliber person. And I'm trying to tell you guys that A lot of the replacements that Oklahoma State got were lower caliber. They were the new wife, the second wife, the ugly one. They weren't as good as the first one. That's the reality of the situation at Oklahoma State. So I've been thinking about that. Teams that won in the transfer portal because they replaced their departures with pretty damn good players. That's West Virginia. They actually did pretty good at the last second when nobody was looking in the spring. While everybody was talking about Colorado, West Virginia was quietly getting these players that were pretty damn good. Yeah. I want to show you guys something. This is the way I do it, right? So let's go to transfer portal. And instead of going tracker, because I do trackers a lot, we go in here. We can go to NCAA 24/7. Now, I only use this for pictures. I don't believe anything they're saying with rankings. I don't care. Their rankings mean nothing to me. But if you go to school, you go to Big 12, you come in here, and you go to – I'm sorry, I passed them. No, I didn't. West Virginia. What's wrong with me? And when you go in here, look at Tony Mathis. Tony Mathis leaves. This is your leading rusher. Leaves to Houston. That hurts, right? No, it's because there was other good running backs on West Virginia that had already passed him on the depth chart. Okay? This one was huge. Tamawa Durage. Big Tommy as they call him. He went on an official visit to Colorado. And I can tell you guys that when he went to Colorado, it was one of those things where I told everybody, hey, man, Colorado needs to get this kid. And everybody was like, oh, well, are they going to get him? I said, well, he's on the visit, but he's got to be one of the guys that they get. Check it out. This is proof. This is the Colorado players visiting on May 6th. My number one rating, the number one player I thought they should get was Tamiwa Durage right here. They got all the highlighted dudes. Colorado got all the guys highlighted. I make charts like this all the time, by the way, just so you know how crazy I am. And my number one player was Tamiwa. On the visit, he's an SEC level lineman. He's a great caliber player, and he chose West Virginia. After the visit to Colorado, he said, okay, that's cool. It looked nice. The flash was nice. I'm going to West Virginia. That, for me, was a wake-up call. Okay, that was the wake-up call. You got Bradley down here, another edge rusher. You're addressing your front seven. Okay, Horton, is he not dominating? Is E.J. Horton not dominating the Big 12 right now? Or at least at West Virginia? I want to go pull something up. Who's the leading receiver? Hudson Clement. Well, one game, Hudson Clement went ham. That's another thing. Hitting on walk-ons and West Virginia kids is important. Shout out to Hudson Clement. Getting his scholarship after one game. Devin Carter. Okay. I could have sworn I saw somewhere where he had a big game. I'm tripping. Beanie Bishop, obviously. Beanie Bishop's got interceptions for days. He's playing great. This is a Minnesota transfer. Anthony Wilson, this is what I'm talking about. You get two DBs back-to-back. Beanie Bishop, definitely, I know he's playing out of his mind. Does he have 2 interceptions? 3? He has 2. All right, 2 interceptions, 35 yards returns, solo tackle. He's got, in the conference, he's got the most solo tackles. Beanie Bishop does. I'm pulling it up on my screen right now. So West Virginia, there he is. He's got 3rd most solo tackles in the whole conference. West Virginia just somehow, some way, they've got more solo tackles than Danny Stutzman. And all you guys talk about Danny Stutzman, and I love Danny, but I'm just letting you know what West Virginia did in the spring transfer portal. That's what this is. Just handling their shit. When nobody was looking, they got the right players. Yes, they lost Taj Austin. Taj Austin's been making what? He made 1 play against USC, made 1 play against Oregon. He's got these flashes. It would be nice to have him. But they got other players. Jashawn Polk coming in. He's a good return man from Kent State. He's a great get. I feel like there's Devin Carter dominating the receiving. Remember, he was one of the leading receivers at NC State last year, and he came over because he saw all these departures. You see these guys leaving. Prater leaves a slot open for you. Well, I'll go fill that slot just fine. I love what West Virginia did in the transfer portal. Congratulations to them for addressing their needs and not falling behind the way some people were viewing it because they had Neil Brown. Shout out to you guys. That's my thoughts on West Virginia. Thank you for asking. What do you think about Slovis? Keaton Slovis playing at BYU. I think Keaton Slovis is a quality starter in college football, period. Like, I just think he's a good player. Not great, but he's good enough to score and keep BYU in games. So I like Slovis. I like him. He's not bad, not terrible. You know what I'm saying? When will Navy be good again? Will Snead, it was their first year, so they've had Ken Nianapitalovo. I can't even say his last name. You guys know the deal. Coach Ken was there for 14 years. And Navy has a high academic institution, just like West Point. They're very difficult to maintain your academics while doing all the other requirements. You also have to understand that after your sophomore year at a service academy, you have to make your commitment to say you're going to do your commission and your 8-year commitment to the military. This is why you see transfers departing after their sophomore year. It's when they decide they don't want to do their military commitment, then they leave the school. That is the vast majority of transfers out of service academies. The one thing service academies can't get are late transfers. They cannot utilize the transfer portal. Service academies cannot utilize the transfer portal. They cannot get anybody coming in from their junior and senior year. So they cannot use the transfer portal to address their shortcomings on their roster. There are 0 gains. No matter what website you go to, when you go look at the gains from the transfer portal for Navy, Army, and Air Force, you're going to see nothing. But incoming freshmen, incoming personnel, they can have an absorbent amount of numbers. They can go way over the 25 limit. They have up to 40 some years. 40. Because they have so many people wash out and not make it the whole time. So what the service academies realized is they got to run an offense that's advantageous to them, conducive to them being successful and using lesser players and lesser things. Give me a second here. Shout out to Kendrick Newton for becoming an MVP. Congratulations, man. Sorry about that. I just wanted to interrupt and give you a shout out. I didn't realize it. Congratulations again. A new MVP is always a good choice. Welcome to the team. So what I'll tell you guys is with Navy, Air Force, and Army, you just can't be overly competitive on any given day. You got to develop your guys. You got to have them there. And their offensive scheme, they just hired a new offensive coordinator for the first time in a long time. And he's a Navy guy. Like, he's a triple option guy. But he's from Kennesaw State. And Kennesaw State, they run some variation of it. But for me, I don't like in-house hiring for head coaching positions. In other words, you fire the head coach and you hire the defensive coordinator, I have a problem with that. Yes, you want to keep continuity with your program, but it also makes me question how long before the firing was that defensive coordinator undermining the head coach? Like, why is it that you can fire the head coach but think the defensive coordinator should be retained? Because if the defensive coordinator was any good, when I hire a new head coach, he would keep him. He would keep him. Get a new head coach. Oh, you want to bring in your guys? But we don't even do that, right? So Navy made a mistake hiring in-house is how I feel. They won't be competitive for a long time. It's the American. There's no way that they should just be outmanned and outgunned the way they are. Even Army's got a better fighting chance whenever they play and with what they do. But Navy, and look at Air Force. Air Force is dominating the Mountain West. Blew out Baylor in their bowl game last year. Right? You can be good at a service academy. Navy, for whatever reason, is not. And for me, it was all that first game this year. Getting blown out by 40 to a team you only lost by 3 to the year before, you're not playing inspired football. You're not. Do you think USF will beat UAB? Joey Way, like I said, it's not a gamble. It's not a thing I believe that I can gamble on. But if you ask me, they have the capability to do it. 100%. They have the right players. Now, if you ask me before the season, I'm taking UAB 20 out of 20 times. So far this season, though, yeah, it looks like they can. But 20 out of 20 times, I'm taking UAB before the season. Now it's like, I'm really impressed with what they're doing. And what it really comes down to, what UCF's doing, is Alex Golish, the former offensive coordinator at Tennessee, who's now the head coach at South Florida. He's just a good play caller, great schemer. He takes advantage of, and I know it's going to sound so stupid, but he takes advantage of the wide hash marks. He knows how to do alignments with his offensive scheme in college because the hash marks are so wide. It creates a really small, it just gives you more room to work, and you can misalign the defense with your formations and leave your players with space on the wide side of the field. Right? So, like, if you put a receiver to the boundary on the short side, it just moves your corner out there. It moves the safety over the top a little bit, depending on your coverage. Right? Maybe an outside linebacker now has to line up to take away the hook to curl or the slant. And you're like, what? We just moved 3 defenders to the short side of the field because we have 1 wide receiver out here. 1 wide receiver, 3 defensive players need to realign themselves to take away anything. So now when you pump fake a quick hitch, the DN will also go and put his hands up, and now you got 4 guys for 1 receiver way out there. And that leaves you with a numbers advantage on the far wide side. This is offensive scheme 101. This is an impressive thing I see on tape all the time with Alex Golesh. And Wake Forest does it a lot. Josh Heupel does it a lot. There's certain offenses that just understand the hash marks better. Maybe it doesn't translate to the pro game. That's the worst part, right? So when people always ask me about Ohio State and why don't their quarterbacks translate to the pros better, it's because of stuff like that I just explained. When you're utilizing the wide hash marks of college football, it's advantageous on Saturdays. It's not as relevant on Sundays. It's the reality of the situation. It's why you take a penalty on the 5-yard line if you're kicking a field goal, because the hash marks are too wide and you want to move back a little bit to lessen the angle. So if you're the other team, you don't take the penalty. You keep them that close. It's a sharp angle to try to make the kicks. There's a lot of nuances with the college game versus the pro game, and it has to do with hash marks. Just something to think about. Who is hating on this man this early in the morning? Just kids who've never succeeded in life. Some of these comments go ahead and get deleted so quickly, I don't even see them, dude. Live at 8:30 in the morning, count me in. Shout out to you, Andrew. I thought they went to the American for a little bit. Did they? UConn? I apologize if they did, Apple Jacks. I didn't keep track. Or maybe I did and I forgot. There's a lot of shit going on up here. What do you think about West Virginia football this year? I already answered it. Never repeat your questions. Be patient. Answer your question once and be patient. Big East dissolved in 2013. There you go, Marcus Banks. Thank you. Rico, Red River rivalry. I think Texas has got it after demolishing Kansas. Oklahoma sputters too much to keep pace. Yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a keep pace kind of game. I do think that they sputter, but I think that Texas wins the game. I already talked about it. Rewind the show. I agree with you, though, Ryan White. It's not about how bad they demolished Kansas. Kansas had a backup quarterback. It's more about it's just matchups. There are Oklahoma defensive backs that can't run with certain Texas wide receivers. At the same time, Texas defensively, they can run with everybody. They have a strong front seven. They can get pressure without blitzing. There's just things they can do. I like Texas. Rico, what do you think of that UCF throw at 4th and 5 towards the end of the game? The commentator went absolutely nuts and was crazy to watch live, even though they lost. I did not see it. I do not remember it. I'm going to have to go back and look it up, Andres. Thank you for asking, and I owe you an answer. Next time I see you, we will discuss it, or I might make a TikTok video on it. I will go look for it. Thank you. Rico, who is your favorite college team? Tyler Bullitt, I do not have a favorite college team. I believe teams are just colors. They're just jerseys and cities, bro. Like, I like the players. I like coaches. And they can pick and move every which way. They can go anywhere they want. And I still support the player and the coach. Don't care what jersey they're wearing. So people who like a particular player, let's say Caleb Williams, for example, if you liked him at Oklahoma and then he transfers to USC and you don't like him anymore, then you weren't a Caleb Williams fan. You're just a fan of whoever's wearing your jersey. Therefore, you're a fan of colors, right? I don't like that. I'm a true supporter of athletes and coaches. Don't care what team you're on. Now, that's why I covered the transfer portal. And that's probably why people assume I'm a Colorado fan, is because I'm an advocate and a believer in all the players. But the reality is I'm an advocate and believer of those players before they were ever at Colorado. Like, I liked all those players when they were in high school. That's why I do high school film review. I become a fan or a fanatic about the players before they ever get to college. I'm sitting around watching film. I went to a Travis Hunter game when he played at Collins Hill as a junior. Took my father to the game. They were playing Grayson and Phil Maffa. And I took him to the game. I said, hey, we need to go see this guy. Now, this was before Jake Garcia had transferred in and they won state. But I'm watching Collins Hill, and the quarterback is Sam Horn. And I'm like, man, these guys can play some ball. I like this. And the year before, I was a fan of Marietta. And Eric Gilbert and Ricky White, Harrison Bailey, and Vidal. Like, it's a who's who. I'm just watching kids in high school. What school they go to doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be a fan of that kid no matter what school he goes to. And they can transfer, and I'll still be a fan. That's how I am. So I like players. I like coaches. Don't give a shit what jersey they're wearing. That's the reality of the situation. Preach, Rico, preach. Shout out to you, Tyler. I don't know what I was preaching about, but I'll keep doing it. Shout out to the fellow veterans. Get all your disability. You earned it. If you have it at less than 50% and served from 2001 until last year, go to a VFW or your local VA. They will assist you for free. Yeah, well, shout out to you for the public service announcement, Marcus Banks. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be all right. I've served for over 20 years now, and I joined the Army in 2003. So I've been in 20 years, 8 months, and pretty sure I'm going to be okay. But I feel you. Everybody else, go get yours. Good morning, Rico. Thank you very much. What do you think has gone wrong with Charlotte this season? Absolutely nothing has gone wrong with Charlotte. Applejacks. Charlotte was a terrible team last year and still had amazing players, and they all left. Like, Charlotte lost their leading receiver, Elijah Spencer. He went to Minnesota. They lost, who's the kid who got drafted by the Packers, 7th round? DeBose. Whoa, what's wrong with me? They lost DeBose at wide receiver. They lost a 5th-year starting quarterback. He started there for 5 years. Lost him. And what they had to do with Biv Poggi coming in is find players. And they've done that. The schedule's tough, but some of the things you want to do is be competitive in your losses and just look improved. Now, they got some studs in the transfer portal. Nothing's gone wrong. They've been looking just like they should. I'm happy for them. If you look at me on my chart, when it comes to top new coaching hires at there was 25 new coaches in college football. I made a chart about them. At number 25, I got it wrong. I said Alex Golesh. But there's Biff Poggi at 22, and I said I love him. But I also only had them winning 3 games. Okay, I had them winning 3 games. I don't think anything's gone wrong. They're competitive. They're tough. They play good. They covered the spread against Florida. They looked a hell of a lot better than some other teams against Florida. I like what they're doing. I'm cool with them. I think they're going in the right direction. They're going to win recruiting battles. Biff Poggi's got it. Just trust. Give it time. Once again, shout out to Kendrick Newton for becoming an MVP. Thoughts on Division II powerhouse? I cannot say their name. How dare you do this to me? It's the Louisiana team, right? Ochita or some shit. Somebody told me it's a W sound or this other sound. Wachita Baptist. I can't do it, man. Shout out to you, Braden Hendricks, for even asking me. I've been asked this question before, just so you know. Not my thing. I don't watch a lot of Division II football. Kirsch Vyas. What's up, Rico? Do you believe that with all the quarterback talent in this year's draft, we will see some surprises stay in college for another year? So twofold. I'm not ever going to be surprised when somebody stays in college for another year. That doesn't ever surprise me. You might be surprised, but I'm not surprised. I think some people don't care. Some people just want to get their chance to get to the NFL. It's an NFL dream. It's part of what they want to do. But Austin Reed proved something very real, and it's important people listen and pay attention. If you're projected to be a 6th or 7th round quarterback, you probably will not make the active roster. Now, they're doing a little trick to make sure that third quarterbacks are available for Sunday games. I understand the CBA has a rule, but the reality is you will not make the active roster week in and week out. So you're looking at making somewhere around $200,000 a year on the practice squad. It's not a bad living, but it's obviously a pay cut for those 5th and 6th round draft picks. So what you can do and what you should do is transfer. Transfer to a lower school or stay at your current school and make your money in college. You can make more money in NIL. And Austin Reed got paid, I want to say Western Kentucky starting quarterback. He got $300,000 in NIL this year. And he took it. $300,000 instead of going to the draft and being a 6th or 7th round draft pick. Took the $300,000 and ensured he plays well. Going up against lesser competition, get another year under your belt. Oh, and by the way, if you play out of your mind, you can become a 3rd round draft pick. And then you're guaranteed to be on the roster for a while. Shout out to Bailey Zappi. Right? So you want to do that. More power to you. But the small school guys are the guys that are going to keep coming back and not declare early. The other thing is he got offered by Louisville. He got offered by Kentucky. Turned them both down. But they offered him, and they were offering him $700,000 NIL. And he turned it down because he said, what if I go there and have a very mediocre year? Then that pushes me to undrafted or 6th and 7th round draft picks. This does not make me any money. I make more money playing at a lower level, getting another 4,000 yards, and taking my $300,000. Short-term money versus long-term money. That's what it is. Short-term versus long-term. So I hope these kids stay in school. Get your money while you can. Get it while in college. Applejack says, do you ever go watch any Georgia high school football games? Applejacks, I used to, but with college football being played on Friday nights, I can't miss games. I make more money live streaming the games, so I live stream during games. It's very advantageous for me. At the same time, when I go to one game, I miss 30 games. I can sit at home and watch games on GPB, NFHS. I can watch games on my computers, and that's probably better for me than driving. I'm pretty far from any quality football. So if I want to watch a good high school football game, I got to go 2 hours. Easy, 2 hours. And I do it. I've done it before, but a game ends at 10 p.m., and now I don't get home until midnight, 1 a.m. It's a pretty long drive. I live in Augusta, Georgia. It's pretty far. I probably could go to South Carolina and see some high-quality games. Probably a little closer, about an hour closer. But going to the good games here in Georgia takes me 2 hours to get there, so I stopped doing it. I haven't gone to a game since last year, so I haven't gone this year. There you go. Morning, Rico. Does Xavier Worthy, remind you of any player from years past? I'm trying to take comparisons. Oh, goodness, Philly. Think of a fast player who drops a lot of passes. Who is it? Xavier Worthy is fast, athletic, a game breaker, but his ability to just drop passes at any moment in time is the worst trait he has. And I call it an ability because it's what he does. It's like one of his skill sets. Like you can juke somebody, well, he can drop a pass. Same concept. At least that's how I feel. So, yeah, Xavier Worthy reminds me of nobody else. I've never seen anybody drop passes like that. Sorry about that. Was Colorado actually good, or did USC shut down their D since they were so far ahead? Unstupid. That is not a Big 12 question. Come back Friday. That's a Pac-12 question. Should high school football have regional championships on top of states? Oh, I'd love it, Chris. I'd love it. I'd love a whole damn nation. I don't care. They do the high school championship showcase at the end of the year where state champs play each other and nobody pays attention. Like the year Georgia's state champ went and played Washington's state champ, and Washington beat them on a final play. Shout out to Woods who did it. Joshua Woods, he's actually the backup quarterback at Fresno State right now. He beat Travis Hunter and Sam Horn, and they looked unstoppable all year. So, like, there's states out there who believe they got the best high school football team. You don't. You don't. You don't until you played them. And once you play them, they smack you. What's up, buddy? What up, James Womack? Have you heard of Irwin County? Trip Pool. Irwin County Indians won back-to-back state titles a couple years ago. One of the titles was over Brooks County, their 1A school. They've lost 2 games in a row the last 2 weeks. Have I heard of Irwin County? We're talking about a random high school team, a 1A high school team in America, and you just asked me about them, and I can tell you anything about them. You're talking to someone who knows everybody, bro. Shout out to you, Trip Pool. Shout out to the Irwin County Indians. Very tough conference to play in. Very tough region. Jackson State versus Middle Tennessee State. Diego Hernandez, if you're an MVP, go watch the video. I've already talked about that game. It's pronounced Wachita, I think. Wachita. Look at that. That's ridiculous, Andres. Sorry, my nose is itching. It's bugging me. J2 to B. If you are Braylon Presley and Tulsa isn't giving you touches, what are your top 5 choices in schools to transfer to? Oh, my goodness. So if you guys don't know, we've talked about this before, but Braylon Presley played at Bixby High School, never lost a game in high school. He looks like Barry Sanders. Go watch his huddle film. It's amazing. Braylon Presley, one of the greatest high school running backs I've ever seen in my life. And he goes to Oklahoma State, gets no touches first year, red shirts. Transfers. He says, okay, I'm out of here then. You guys don't want to give me any touches? I'm too small. You think I need to be a slot receiver? I'm leaving. Now, his older brother is the star receiver at Oklahoma State right now. And he's small too. He's 5'8", 170. Yet they give him the ball all the time. He's a receiver. Braylon Presley's a running back, and they don't give him the ball at all. He's about 5'6", 170. 5'7", 170. Something. He's little. He's slender. But my God, he's fast. And Braylon Presley's at Tulsa now, and Tulsa's not giving him any touches. So J to the B saying, what does he do now? Well, what he does now is a couple things. Knowing you've already transferred once, you need to have some type of reason or justification for your waiver request. So that doesn't sound good. So he's probably going to have to graduate first, become a graduate transfer. So finish, get your degree. Take a bunch of classes. If I'm Braylon Presley, I double my classes, and I focus on my classes 100%, become a graduate transfer. And then you go hit the transfer portal. And at this point, you got to stop. You got to go find an FCS level school that'll give you all the playing time. You got to go down to Incarnate Word, Sacramento State. You got to go to one of these FCS schools that's going to give you all the playing time. And then go ball out. Braylon Presley is an NFL talent. He's an NFL talent. Whether he gets playing time or not, the talent level of that young man is NFL worthy. I hope they figure it out. I hope he does too. What up, MVPs? How we doing today? What up, Diego? Good. Shout out to you, man. Anthony Schwartz. There you go. Anthony Schwartz. Xavier Worthy. There it is. That's a very, very good comparison. Will Fuller is probably closer. I see Will Fuller right there in Mimi's World. Will Fuller was so fast, but he still had some drops, but he was fast and successful. I think he might be more Will Fuller than he is Anthony Schwartz. But think of those world-class speed dudes who just dropped the ball. But Will Fuller had some big catches too. But yeah, I like the Will Fuller comparison. Fast player who drops passes, so Worthy is a shorter Quentin Johnston. Got it. Nah, don't go there. Quentin Johnston catches, man. I got a lot of tape on Johnston making catches. You guys just think he doesn't make catches because some mock draft told you he's a body catcher, not hands. I found a bunch of video of him with his hands. Hey, Rico, is Texas Tech's slow start more about them, or was their schedule harder than we originally? You're comparing their schedule harder than we originally thought. When you make a comparison, T-H-A-N, not E-N, T-H-A-N. Texas Tech's schedule was very difficult with Oregon. Wyoming should not have been comparable to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is their issue is within themselves. Their issue is they read their own press clippings. I don't know. Their issue is not getting it done. They have a great team on paper. You look on paper. I had them winning 9 games. Look how ridiculous that sounds. And now I don't pick them to win any week. I had them winning 9 games at the preseason. They ain't doing shit. They can't even pass the ball to DeAndre McCray. I told you guys, hey, Dre McCray's the guy. My 24th ranked offensive transfer. Dre McCray, Austin P, he's this, that, he's this. I can't throw him the ball. Has a 102-yard kickoff return for a touchdown this past weekend. Can't throw him the ball, but if you kick it to him, he'll take it to the house because he's that good. But some reason they can't throw it to him. Now you got a quarterback broke his ankle. Now you got a backup. Well, everybody likes more and more. You like B more and more. Okay. What's wrong with Tyler Shuck? What's wrong with this offense? Oh, the defense is giving them too many points. Well, then what's wrong with the defense, bro? I look at all the players. They're 5-6-year guys. They've been there forever, developing. This team should be dominating, and they're not. It's not the schedule, man. It's not the schedule. It's them. Xavier Worthy reminds me of Kadarius Toney. fast and a playmaker but no hands? Ridiculous. Kadarius Toney had no worry or no issue with catching passes. That only came up week 1 of the NFL season this year. Kadarius Toney, in his time at Florida and his time in the NFL, has never been known for dropping passes. It just happened this year. That is not how that works. You don't get to magically say, oh, that guy's got no hands. Playmaker with no hands. No. Xavier Worthy, it's different. It's no hands in college. Kadarius Toney was a monster at Florida. Rico, I'm a depressed Giants fan. It's a little redundant. Can Caleb Williams turn our franchise around? Love your content. Thanks. JT Zimmerman. Caleb Williams cannot turn your franchise around. He can definitely show up and win games. He can be more competitive. But can you justify drafting Caleb Williams when you have $140 million sunk into your quarterback position? $160 million. I apologize. $160 million for 4 years. You can't justify taking another. You got other positions of need. Quarterback's not the issue. Yes, Daniel Jones was sacked 10 times. Right? They gave up 11 sacks. Everybody's telling me, Rico, that's the NFL record. That's the NFL record. No. 10 sacks for Daniel Jones. So you change the quarterback. How many times is he going to get sacked? 8. Daniel Jones is athletic. He can run around. It's not the quarterback, man. You got to buy linemen. You got to buy offensive linemen and pay them well. There's a lot of other issues on that team. Yo, Rico, you ever heard of Dublin Kaufman? No, I have not. Diego, I don't know who that is. Rico, you should check out Mount Dora High School. They tough. I feel you, Aiden Bush. Thank you. Zach Ryan says, is the MVP list for today's games change at all? Zach Ryan, are you an MVP? Are you an MVP? I'll make an MVP video today for my MVPs. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, we have been destroyed by injuries this year. 3 ACLs, 2 concussions, and a broken ankle. But we still played Swainsboro tight until the midway through the 4th. Yeah. Trip, I hear you. I saw it. I went back and watched it. This was last week. It's Swainsboro, bro. They're tough. Injuries happen. You know, depth is a problem at a 1A school. Shout out to the Twins. I hope they're still at K-State or Kennesaw State right now. Man, Rico, you don't think Grovetown is quality football? Parker Raycraft, just kidding. Yeah, definitely a lack of talent around the Columbia County area, generally speaking. You know, Parker Raycraft, what I saw was it wasn't really a lack of talent. There's some good players at Evans. I saw, obviously, a stud in Marcus Washington at Grovetown last year before he signed with 2 years ago, before he signed with Georgia. There's players. They're spread out amongst all the other schools, and then this is going to sound terrible because I live around this area, but the coaching is terrible. The coaching is really bad. I don't know the coaches personally, so I hope I'm not talking about a dude that I might run across tomorrow because he might feel some type of way and it'll get his feelings hurt. And he can huff and puff all he wants, but if he meets me, he ain't saying shit. I'm telling you right now, those coaches, they're bad. I went and watched Evans versus Richmond Academy a couple years back. Took my father to the game. We were sitting there. We're like, man, this Evans team has so many good players. If we were coaching them, they'd be undefeated. Man, my father and I used to be coaches. So as we sit there and we watch, we just see mistakes everywhere. It's hard to watch a game at that level. Hard to watch it. And they barely won the game. And then they lost the first round of the playoffs. Number 1 seed lost to a 4 seed. It's just bad football around here. That's all it is. Shout out to the coaches around here. Whoa, is there still a stream tonight, Bobby Albright? There is not, because I will be busy. I have other things going on, but I'll make a bunch of videos tonight since I have free time. Hey, Rico, did you have a favorite player or team growing up? Yes, Mr. Mike Ike. My favorite player growing up was Emmitt Smith. My favorite team was the Dallas Cowboys. College football, I want to say as a younger kid, I liked, obviously, Troy Aikman at UCLA, Skip Hicks, Cade McNown, and then it transitioned to USC. As soon as they got Kareem Kelly and Darryl Rideau, there was no looking back. Sultan McCullough at running back. I was an Obi Moore fan in high school. He's a track star, Pasadena Muir, and they got Sultan McCullough also from Pasadena Muir. They all came out of the same area. Getting Santa Margarita's best quarterback, some guy named Carson Palmer, was amazing. Watching Tustin running back Deshaun Foster go to UCLA. It's just being in Southern California at that time was you became a fan of these programs, and I stuck with it. Then I stopped being a fan of programs right around 2008. 2008, I stopped being fans of teams and just players at that point. I want to say it was 2008. So I might have been a fan of Boise for a while, if I remember correctly. But that's it. It's just different now. Thank you for the question, though. So much experience and not doing anything with it. Most excited it's been for a season for them in a long time. Frustrating as a fan. Yeah, Stephen Duke, it can be, man. You're talking about Texas Tech, right? Yeah. You look at that team and you go through every single player, look at his history and how much he can do. There's transfers in there with 4 or 5 years of experience. You got a linebacker, redshirt freshman linebacker. I like him. Made a video on him. White guy. What's his number? I watch a lot of films, so I go by numbers, guys, not names. But even when I watch him, it's like a little bulky. Reminds me of Brian Urlacher, just because he played wide receiver and corner in high school. I went back and watched his huddle tape. But when I watch him play, it's just, man, I wish they did more. I wish they were better. It's a shame. I do miss Will Fuller. Hope bro is doing well in pseudo-retirement. Shout out to you, Philly. I miss no grown men, just so we're clear. Do you see DG walking into Dallas this weekend and leading the Sooners to victory? I don't see it. It can happen. Shout out to Dylan Gabriel. He is leading the conference in passing. He's not a scrub. Dylan Gabriel's getting it done. It's just he doesn't play defense. He doesn't play defense. So who's supposed to tackle those guys? Now, Venables, if he gets it done, man, I won't be surprised at all. Like, I'm cool with it. I won't be surprised at all. Yeah. We'll watch it happen. We'll see what happens. I'll be live streaming. You guys can watch it. Join the game with me. You can hear my reaction. FIU at +6 is a weird line. Curbside Sports Analytics, that's an MVP conversation. You're not an MVP. I will not be having it out in public. Thank you. Diego Hernandez, Ohio powerhouse made guys like Brady Quinn. Fair? Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Now that I know you're talking about a high school team, Dublin Kaufman, I thought that was a player. I'll definitely go back and look at some Ohio football teams. Dio Ash doing what he does best, being a crybaby. Diva calling you racist. Yeah, so Storm Coakley, kids will say what they say on the internet, man. The reality is they're not doing this for a living. It's just a random hobby of theirs. It's just what they do for fun. They don't know how to turn it into a living, and then some of us know what we're doing. Pillam McGee says, also heard you mention Bixby. They're on a roll. They just beat about every 6A team by 60. Yeah, Pillam McGee, I usually watch them on Fridays. I usually watch them. I have a subscription. I can watch anybody, and I go through and I watch a lot of Bixby football. I do. They're fun to watch. They're a dominant program for, the last 9 years? Rico, what's your opinion on FSU? My opinion is they're not in the Big 12. I only talk FSU on Mondays. Thanks for asking. That's how I feel about it. Dio owns you. Shout out to Big Cobb. Are you going to watch a Buford game sometime with Raiola being there? I'm not going to the game, Applejacks. I do watch them on Fridays. I mean, I'm aware of them. I watch them. I talk to a lot of Buford players in my DMs. The Buford players are in my DMs. I talk to them weekly. Yeah, that Evans tackle, Mason Short, played travel baseball with him. He's listed at 6'7", 310. He was 5'10" in the first grade. Bama commit, though. Yeah. Yep. Could be a big boy. GM, Rico, it's early. Oh, good morning. Good morning, David. Dio's a pimple-faced teenager. Rico, do you play any video games? I saw an upload stream from a while ago on your YouTube page. Mr. Mike and Ike, when it's not football season, I play League of Legends with my son, but mainly TFT or ARAM. I don't really play lanes all that much. I'm a gold level player in lanes. I'm a Diamond 1 in TFT, so I like playing that more because I'm better at it. In duos with my son, I can carry him to platinum, but my son's a much better player than me in lanes. He's just very good at what he does. He's a 15-year-old. And I think he's going to be busy this winter because he's wrestling now. So it's just priorities, man. Right now I'm working. It's football season. I work all season. No video games right now. I used to play video games every single day when it's not football season because I can handle the transfer portal for most of the day and then I go do other things. But I don't know, man. I love what I'm doing. It doesn't feel like work. This is a video game to me, and I feel like I'm challenger, right? Do you agree that OSU Oklahoma State is the worst team in the Big 12 this year? No. J to the B, they're not the worst team. They're struggling, but I don't think they're the worst team. I think Baylor's got it worse. I think UCF has got it worse. I feel like TCU's down there. Iowa State, everybody's comparable. There's a whole scramble down there at the bottom, but there's no clear-cut worst team. There isn't. They're going to have a rough year, though. They're going to have a rough year. Their schedule's very easy. That's why I couldn't say that they were going to fire this guy. Their schedule is very easy. Yeah, but the Giants can get out of Jones's contract, no obligations after next year. Yeah, JT Zimmerman, it can happen. Not saying it will or it won't. It can happen. All from 2019 team, Washington State, Gabe and Barland. Yep. Kennesaw State, DJ Lundy, FSU. Oh, I'm very aware of the team. All that on one offense. We scored 580 points and allowed like 70 that year. Yep, trip pull. I know it well. I'm a big fan. Some kid who reads a lot of mock drafts and goes to Planet Fitness. It's not that Watson contract where it's fully guaranteed. I know that. What's your opinion on that Penn State linebacker number 11? Well, first off, Penn State is not in the Big 12, and the only number 11 from Penn State is a guy you might not have heard of. I don't know how old you are, Mikhail. I don't know. Think about a LeVar Leap. That's number 11. That's the only number 11 from Penn State I care about. Do you think Stutzman wins the Butkus? No, I don't think he wins the Butkus. We'll see how he plays throughout the season. I don't try to guess who's winning those awards. As of right now, he's obviously a finalist. You watching the Major League Baseball playoffs? Chase Wright, I have no idea what the hell that is. I will not watch it, no. You, sir, TU should be good. Oh, yes, sir. Should be good the next coming years, especially with Kevin Wilson. Tulsa. He's talking about Tulsa, guys, TU. As head coach and him having a strong Oklahoma ties from his time in Norman. Yeah, not just his ties in Norman, but he's a great quarterback whisperer. Like, he knows what he's doing. So I like that. Theo couldn't body a 2-year-old. There you go. Abdul Carter did predict Puka, which is damn impressive. If you think that's impressive, JT Zimmerman, let me explain something to you. These kids sit here and talk about players on FBS-level teams and Power 5 teams. I'm the only person in the world that made a video on a Division III player who made it past the Final 53. Like, the fact that he can sit there and point out a guy that you see on Saturday every day, I'm pointing out dudes that are not on TV. There's levels to this shit. You get excited about it. I won't. I don't even think Puka's that good. He got an opportunity because Cup's injured. Everybody gets opportunities because players are injured. That's the reality. How many targets does Cup get? If Cup was there, this guy would get no targets. Any changes to your 2 picks for tonight? Ask 9, I'm making a video for MVPs right after this. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. Sorry the show went this morning and not a lot of people knew about it. That's life. That's just the way we get down. Remember, don't talk sports with your friends because your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in.